I'm taking you somewhere forgotten. A place where the fog never lifts. And the silence still echoes. You've heard whispers. The story of the lighthouse, the vanished families. The impossible signal still pulsing through empty airwaves. This isn't a ghost story. This is a warning. Welcome to the mystery of Maine's haunted lighthouse. It began with a sound. A low, humming pulse that crackled faintly through AM radios along the shoreline of Harrow Bay. At first, it was dismissed as static, old equipment picking up storm noise from across the water. But by the second week of September 1976, the signal had deepened. It pulsed like a heartbeat, measured, intentional. And then came the dreams. Lillian Hayes was the first to report them, a retired schoolteacher living alone on Gulls Road. She claimed to have seen the lighthouse, though no lighthouse had operated along that stretch of coast since 1959. In her dream, the beam swung slowly across a black sea, illuminating hundreds of figures standing waist-deep in the surf, their faces turned inland, their mouths open, but making no sound. At a time, she wrote about it in a letter to her niece in Boston. The letter arrived 3 days after Lillian herself had vanished. Her front door was left open, breakfast untouched on the table, and her radio still buzzing with the same hollow rhythm. The police found no signs of a break-in. The case went cold within a week, but the dream spread. Dozens more residents, scattered along a 6-mile coastal stretch, reported identical visions. Always the same lighthouse, always the same figures in the water. Then, some began to sleepwalk. A few were found standing outside at night, facing east toward the ocean, barefoot and glassy-eyed. By October, 11 people had disappeared. Then the power company received a maintenance request from a long-abandoned structure, Beacon 7, the decommissioned lighthouse that had once stood watch over Harrow Bay. The request came from a deadline, but the form was official, signed, dated, and it bore the old station master's name, Edgar Merrow, who had drowned in 1957. That was when they sent Thomas Green, a junior technician with Maine Shore Utilities, to investigate. He brought a tape recorder, a flashlight, a sidearm, and, unofficially, his brother Jonah, who was home from college and bored enough to tag along. It was a cold morning when they arrived. Fog swallowing the cliffs, wind sharp as broken glass. The lighthouse stood like a corpse on the edge of the rocks. Paint peeling, iron railings rusted. The door hung ajar, swaying gently despite the windless air inside. The brothers climbed the spiral staircase, its steps slick with moss and salt. At the top, the glass lens of the beacon remained intact. And the console, long dead by official records, was humming. The dials twitched. A frequency meter glowed. The recorder captured it all. A tone, low and resonant, played endlessly in a loop. And beneath it, something else. A whispers. They weren't English. In fact, Thomas would later insist they weren't in any known language. But they weren't random, either. The cadence was too precise, the spacing too regular. Like a liturgy, a chant, a voice calling out just beyond the veil of sound. Then the beacon lit. The light ignited with a groan, cutting a path through the fog, its beam unnaturally strong. Stronger than it should have been without power. Thomas stepped back. Jonah stepped forward. He was smiling. He walked to the railing, climbed over it, and fell. The ocean took him before Thomas could scream. The body was never found. Thomas's report was buried. His request to shut down the tower again was denied by someone, no one knew who. And within a week, Thomas himself vanished. What his apartment ransacked, the tape recorder left spinning on the floor, filled with white noise and ocean wind. The town held a small memorial, but no one came. By then, Harrow Bay had become something whispered about in local bars, avoided by tourists, and stripped from most maps. But the disappearances continued. One by one, always near the coast, always leaving radios behind, still tuned to the sound. In 1992, an amateur radio operator named Kelly Markham picked up the signal again. Purely by accident. While scanning dead bands during a storm, she recorded it. They shared it with her club, and posted a short article about it on a fringe paranormal bulletin board. 3 weeks later, she was found in her bathtub. No water, no sign of trauma, just sand, coarse, wet sand, coating the floor. Her neighbors said she hadn't left the house in days. But the tape was still running. Her final recording captured something no one could explain. For a moment, the static dropped away, and a voice broke through. Not chanting, not whispering, but speaking, in English. Just one line. Return to the water, the light remembers you. That tape has never resurfaced, but a copy was made. It circulated through niche conspiracy channels for years before being taken down. All that remains is a transcript, and a photograph, many taken in 1954, showing a group of children on a school tour outside Beacon 7. In the back row is a girl with long black hair. Her name was Ann Doyle. She died in a house fire in 1972, but her face appears again in a photo taken at the cliffs in 1996, standing among a group of modern hikers. Same dress, same eyes, no one remembers seeing her that day. She appears in only one frame, and she's looking straight at the camera. Harrow Bay is quiet now. The beach paths are overgrown. The foghorn's silent, but if you drive far enough down the old coast road, where the pavement crumbles into gravel and the trees thin out like ribs, you'll find a gate. Locked, rusted, a warning nailed to it in 3 languages. Keep out. Radioactive materials. No entry beyond this point. But there's no radiation, no real danger, unless you bring a radio. If you do, and you tune it just right, at the edge of the static, you might hear the heartbeat again. The pulse, the light, and you may start to dream. They say the lighthouse still turns, though no one has powered it in over 60 years. They say its beam is calling someone back. Not the living, the remembered. If you like the video, please hit like, subscribe and press the bell icon. And don't look behind you.